Hello guys, welcome. Hello guys, welcome to Ashutosh Coaching Center. Now today we are going to start the chapter name is Digestion and Absorption. ओके ये नीट के पीओवी से बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, यानी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। ओके यानी कि नीट का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से चैप्टर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, एग्जाम में पूछे भी जाते हैं। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। डाइजेशन क्या होता है? Enzymatic conversion of complex food and substances towards absorbable forms in alimentary canal is called digestion. And digestive system क्या होता है? Include alimentary canal and the digestive gland and the associative gland. Digestive alimentary canal क्या होता है? आप देखते हैं। Alimentary canal begins from the mouth and with the anus. Okay, and mouth lead to the buccal cavity or oral cavity. Oral cavity has been teeth and the muscular tongues, and each tooth embedded in a socket of jaw bones and such attachment called thecodont. Okay, and the hard chewing surface of the teeth made of the enamel, and the tongue is of is a free movable muscular organ attached to the floor of the oral cavity by the frenulum, and the upper surface of tongue has a small projection and called pipillae, and some of the which bears taste bud, and the oral cavity leads through into the short pharynx, which serve as a common passage for the food or the air and the air. Esophagus and the trachea open into the pharynx, and the open of windpipe of or trachea called the glottis, and that of esophagus is called gullet. Right, the cartilaginous and epiglottis prevent the entry of food into the glottis, and during the swelling the esophagus connected the pharynx with the stomach, and with opening of esophagus is regulated by the gastro or esophageal sphincter. Different and the milk has two sets, मतलब होता नहीं है, the human has two sets of teeth and their lifespan, milk teeth and the deciduous teeth, या फिर कह सकते हो परमानेंट टीथ। उसका हेटेरोडोंट क्या होता है? हेटेरोडोंट टीथ आर द यूनिक्वल शेप एंड साइज इन सीजर, कैनाइन, प्रीमोलर, मोलर। स्टोमाटा क्या होता है? स्टोमाटा हैज़ थ्री पार्ट, कार्डियक, फंगस एंड द पाइलोरिक. Into the esophagus open and the air-filled portion of stomata and the portion open into the small intestine. स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन क्या होता है? स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन भी तीन टाइप के होते हैं, ड्यूडेनम, जेजनम, इलियम। जिसमें जो ड्यूडेनम होता है यू शेप का होता है, यू शेप फर्स्ट एंड कॉइल्ड मिडल एंड द हाईली कॉइल्ड पार्ट। ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लग रहा है, ये कुछ ज़्यादा ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। ओके, तो यहाँ से जो है ये पूरा ही खींच लिया जाए तो बेटर रहेगा। स्टोमाटा बस पेनक्रियाज तक ले ले, इतना काफ़ी है। हाँ, तब हम लोग जान रहे थे, कहाँ से हम लोग? हाँ, डाइफोडोंट क्या होता है? डाइफोडोंट जो मेरे होता है वो दो सेट ऑफ, मतलब नहीं, इंसान के जो होता है दो सेट होते हैं दांत के पूरे लाइफ टाइम में। एक होते हैं मिल्क टीथ, एक होते हैं परमानेंट टीथ, और मिल्क टीथ को डिसाइडेड टीथ भी कहते हैं। हेट्रोडोंट क्या होता है? वैसा टेप जिसका जो शेप और साइज बिल्कुल अलग अलग, जैसे कि इन चीज़ें कैनाइन, मोलर, प्रीमोलर, सब ये सब जो होता है आपस में अलग अलग होते हैं। स्टोमक जो होता है, पेट जो होता है, अमाशय जो होता है, वो तीन टाइप के होते हैं, कार्डियक, फंडस एंड द पाइलोरिक। कार्डियक तो जानते ही हो, ओइसोफेगस में, बताओ ओइसोफेगस जाके ओपन होता है कार्डियक में, या कार्डियक से एयर फील्ड होकर स्टोमक में जाता है, और स्टोमक जो ऊपर मतलब पाइलोरिक जो पार्ट होता है वो जाके ओपन होता है स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन जो होते हैं वो भी तीन टाइप के होते हैं, ड्यूडेनम, जजनम, इलियम। ओके, उसका आता है लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन। इसमें क्या होता है, ये भी तीन टाइप के होते हैं। देखो देखो, इसमें होता है तीन पार्ट होते हैं, कैजियम, रोट, कोलोन एंड रेक्टम। ओके, एंड कॉन्सिस्ट ऑफ थ्री पार्ट्स। ओके, एंड द कैजियम जो होता है वो भी आगे जाके तीन पार्ट में बढ़ता है, असेंडिंग कोलोन, ट्रांसवर्स कोलोन एंड द डिसेंडिंग कोलोन। ओके, अब आता है हिस्टोलॉजी ऑफ एलिमेंट्री कैनाल। द सीरोसा इज द आउटर मोस्ट लेयर इज मेड अप ऑफ a thin mesothelium and some connective tissue. And the muscularis is formed by the smooth and the muscles and arranged outer the longitudinal and inner circular layer. Submucosa is formed by the loose connective tissue containing nerves and the blood and the lymph vessel. The mucosa is the innermost layer made of endothelium, and the mucosa forms irregular folds under the and in the stomach and the small finger-like folding called villi in the small intestine, and the cell lining the villi produce numerous microscopic projections called the microvilli and the giving a brass border appearance, and these modification increase the surface of for the absorption, and the villi are supplied with a network of capillaries and the central lymphatic vessel, and the called the lacteal, and the epithelial cell of mucosa contain the secretor cell and the secret digestive enzymes, and mucosa also forms the gland in the stomach and the gastric gland. Mucosa forms the crypt and the in the between the bases of villi and the intestine called the crypts of the liber core. एलिमेंट्री कैनाल भी जो होते हैं वो चार टाइप के होते हैं, सीरोसा, मिस मस्कुलरीज एंड द सब म्यूकोसा एंड द म्यूकोसा। अब डाइजेस्टिव ग्लैंड देखें तो वो भी होते हैं करीब तीन टाइप के, सेलेवरी ग्लैंड, लीवर एंड द पेनक्रियाज। उसमें देखा जाए देयर आर थ्री पार्ट्स पेयर ऑफ सेलेवरी ग्लैंड। सेलेवरी ग्लैंड तीन, पैरोटिड ग्लैंड, सब मेंडिकुलर ग्लैंड यानी सब मेंडिकुलर ग्लैंड या सब मैक्सिकुलर ग्लैंड एंड या फिर सब लिंगुअल ग्लैंड भी, या बिलो जो टंग्स जो होता है उसे भी कहते हैं। All salivary gland produces saliva into the buccal cavity. Okay, उसके बाद लीवर क्या होता है, ठीक है। Liver is the largest gland of the body, weighing about 1.2 kg to 1.5 kg in adult. Located below the diaphragm has two lobes. A structural and a functional unit of liver is hepatic lobules. Hepatic lobules consist of hepatic cell arranged in the form of cord, and each lobule is covered by a thin connective tissue and sheath called the glycone and is capsule. The bile secreted by the hepatic cell and passes through the hepatic duct and stored in the gallbladder and is concentrated from bile from the gallbladder is transported by the cystic and duct and the cystic duct along the hepatic duct and from the common bile duct, and bile duct joined with the pancreatic duct to form hepatopancreatic duct which open into the duodenum, and the hepatopancreatic has a swelling portion called ampulla or of water, and the opening is guarded by the sphincter of Oddi. Pancreas is a compound mixocrine and gland and the both endocrine and बोलते नहीं है माइक्सो मिक्सोक्राइन मिक्स करते हैं, बोथ एक्सोक्राइन एंड द इंडोक्राइन elongated organ situated between the limbs of U-shaped duodenum, and the exocrine acinar cells secrete and the pancreatic juice containing the enzymes. 3. The endocrine isolates of Langerhans secrete the hormones like the insulin and the glucagon. Digestive food देखा जाए तो digestive is accomplished by the mechanical and the chemical process. It is a buccal in the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity forms two major functions and the mastification of food and the facilitation of food. The teeth and the teeth and the tongue with the help of saliva masticates and with the mix up the saliva is composed of the electrolyte sodium plus potassium plus chlorine minus carbonate minus 3 and enzyme salivary and amylase and the protease and lysozymes. About 30% of the starch is hydrolyzed into the disarc and the maltose by the saliva amylase and in the optimum of pH 6.8. Lysozymes act as the antibacterial and agent preventing the infection and the mucus in the saliva, helping the lubricating and the adhering the masticated food and the particles into the bolus. And the bolus is then passed into the esophagus through the pharynx by the swelling or the deglution, and the peristaltics and the bolus from the esophagus passed into the stomach. In the stomach, the mucosa of the stomach has gastric gland. Gastric gland have three major cell named as mucus neck cell, secrete mucus जो पेप्टाइड्स एंड चीप जाइगोमेन सेल जो कि सिक्रेट करता है पेप्सिनोजन, एंड द पैराइट एंड द ऑक्सीजनल सेल एंड सिक्रेट HCl and castel intrinsic factor and the factor essential for the absorption of vitamin B12. And the stomach store the food for 4 to 5 hours, and the food makes the acidic gastric and for the chyme. The pepsinogen converted into the active pepsin, and in the presence of HCl, and the active pepsin converted into the protein and into the protease, and as a pepsitone peps बोलते नहीं है peptones and peptides. Mucus and the bicarbonate ions by the play the important role in the lubricating and the protection of the mucosal epithelium from the excoriation by the HCl and enzymes. And the HCl provide the acidic pH of stomach and the pH 1.8. Renin is an enzyme present in the gastric, help in the digestion of milk proteins, and small amount of lipase are present in the gastric juice, help in the digestion of fats. Absorption of digested product. Absorption is the process by the which end product is digested, passed through the intestinal mucosa and in the blood or lymph. Absorption is carried out by the passive or active or facilitated transport mechanism. Glucose, amino acid, and the electrolyte are absorbed by the simple diffusion into the blood and in the concentration of gradient. Fructose and some amino acid absorbed with the help of carry ions like sodium plus, and this is called facilitated diffusion. And active transport of digestive food and the electrolyte takes place against the concentration of gradient, hence the required energy. Absorption of fatty acid, glycerol and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol insoluble cannot be absorbed in the blood, and they are transported into the mucosal and the epithelium and the triglycerides and are formed. The triglycerides are covered by a protein coat to form small fat globules called the chylomicron, and which are incorporated into the lacteal in the villi, and this lymphatic vessel ultimately releases the absorbed substances and into the both stream later on assimilation and digestion ingestion. The absorption substance finally reach tissue and which utilize them their active, and this process is called assimilation. The digestive waste and the solidified into the coherent and the phases in the rectum and removed the outside, and the periodically the process is called the defecation. Okay, उसके बाद आता है हमारा डिसऑर्डर ऑफ डाइजेस्ट सिस्टम, जिसमें जॉन्डिस होता है, अफेक्टेड द ऑर्गन द लीवर एंड स्किन्स एंड येलो डिपोजिशन ऑफ द बाइल पिगमेंट. ओके, फिर आता है वोमिटिंग. क्या होता है? इंजेक्शन ऑफ स्टोमाटा कंटेंट थ्रू द मीडियम एंड इट इज कंट्रोल्ड बाय द वोमिट सेंटर एंड द मेडुला oblongata, and which feeling a nausea proceed vomiting. डायरिया क्या होता है? अब फेसेस आर रिटेन्ड इन द रेक्टम एज द बॉल मूवमेंट ऑफ अकर इरेगुलरिटी. इंडाइजेशन क्या होता है? द फूड इज नॉट डाइजेस्टेड लीडिंग टू द फीलिंग ऑफ फुलनेस एंड कॉजेज इनएडिक्वेट एंजाइम्स एंजाइटी और फूड पॉइजनिंग एंड ओवर ईटिंग एंड स्पाइसी फूड. फिर इंडाइजेशन के बारे में देखो. पेम क्या होता है? प्रोटीन एनर्जी माल न्यूट्रिशन. एंड PAM may be affect and large section of the population during the drought, famine, and political turmoils. And the PAM affect infant and the children to produce and the marasmus and the quasicorus and quartz बोलते नहीं, क्वाश yorker. The marasmus is produced by the simultaneously deficiencies of food and the calories is found in infant and less than the year in the age, and it's if the mother milks replaced to the early by the food and which are poor both protein and the calorific value. This often happens and the if the mother has a second pregnancy or a childbirth when the older infant is still too young. The marasmus protein deficiency impair and the growth and the replacement of tissue protein and the extreme emaciation of the body and the thinning of limbs. The thinning of limbs result is the skin becomes dry and thin and wrinkled. The growth rate and body weight declined and considerably, and even the growth and the and the developing of brain and the mental facilities are impaired. The quasar is produced by the protein and deficiency of unaccompanied by the calorific deficiency. The result from the replacement of mother and mother's milk and by the high calorific value and protein diet in a child more than any other in age. Okay. उसके बाद देखा जाए लाइक मेडसमस क्वासिगर shows the wasting of muscles and thinning of limbs and fold and failure of growth and brain development, and but unlike medicines, but fat is still left and under skin moreover extensive, and the oedema and the swelling of the parts are seen. So guys, this chapter has been finished, and you are don't forget it, you are a part of journey of needs. So don't forget it as to like share as you can, जितना ज़्यादा like share subscribe हो सकता है like share subscribe करो. Bye bye and see you in next video. Tata.